Hi and welcome to the channel. I'm Laura and this is Kuhn, Kraft, Yoga and Design. Today's class is another Yin to Vin class, so we'll have some gentle movement and mobility postures, and then also we'll move into some longer holds that are more like a yin practice. So this class will be all about stretching it out, moving into our spine and getting some more mobility into our upper back, shoulders, and spine. So when we're ready, you're going to come onto your mat and we're going to get started into a child's pose. Go ahead and open up the knees a little wider than the hips. They don't need to be super wide. Just make space for your torso to come down and relax. Extend the arms out in front of you. Lower the forehead down gently onto the mat. And we'll get started here with some gentle breaths just to connect with ourselves and start to move our practice inward. Slowly take the process of absorbing the outside world and all that goes on around you, whether it's the noises or the busyness, tasks that need to be done. And start to gently pull that awareness inward and begin to focus on the breath. Following the movement of the breath on the inhale and the exhale, as we slow down and allow the body some time to release. On the next breath, I want you just to walk the hands forward, maybe an inch or so. Notice the hips may lift up slightly. And then from here, keeping the hands where they're at, start to lower the hips down. Again, releasing towards the mat. They don't need to connect all the way to the heels. Just that intention of allowing the hips to feel heavy. Lengthening a little further along to the front side of the arms underneath the shoulders. Allowing the low back to settle. Getting more of a stretch. Next, we'll start to slowly move the hands, walk them off the left side of the mat, coming into this diagonal child's pose, reaching the fingertips towards the top left corner of the room. When you're ready, you can sink the torso down. Encourage the stretch from the right pinky all the way to the right hip. Seeking out softness in the body, being gentle with yourself, knowing that your pose is different from everyone else's. You're looking for the awareness, the sensation of the stretch along the right side body. So in between the right ribs, the outside of the right hip flexor, along the length of the right arm. On the next breath, maybe think about dropping the right hip or the right glute just slightly over the right heel. So allowing that hip to drop a little further away from you, reaching the right fingertips, perhaps even a centimeter more. When you're ready, we'll walk the hands through center. Take that child's pose over to the opposite side, walking the hands off the right edge of the mat. And then from here, lowering down, reaching through the left fingertips, really grounding through the mat with that left hand. Once more, allowing the hips to feel heavy and sink down towards the heels. If it's available to you, you can lift the hips up slightly and allow the left glute to just come off the left side of the left heel. You're really exaggerating the stretch along the left side ribs. Continue to breathe. Maybe deepen the breath slightly to feel the ribs expand and expand through the back body. Slowly walk the hands back through center line, and then you can push into the mat. Bring yourself up to a seated position, sitting onto your heels. If your knees were spread apart, let's go ahead and bring them back into alignment just so that our shins and our thighs are straight and parallel. From here, we'll place the right hand down in front of the right knee so the palm was connected to the mat. The left hand can come to the back of the head and the elbow straight out to the side. From here, we're going to do some open twists. Inhale, open up to the left, reaching, opening the chest towards the left side of the room. Exhale, we'll bring it back to neutral. Just waking up the spine here. You don't have to go very far. This can be a challenge. Inhale, open. Exhale, return to the front of the room. One more time, inhale, open up to the left. Exhale, return it back. Let's switch it out. The left hand goes towards the mat now. Connect with the mat and then draw the right hand behind the head, opening up the elbow towards the right side of the room. On an inhale, we open, twist. Staying wide across the collarbone, press into the mat with the left hand to encourage a greater twist. Exhale, return back to neutral, facing the front. Inhale, open up. Exhale, return towards the front of the room. Inhale, open. And exhale once more, returning to face the front. You may have noticed some big differences from one side to the other, and that's completely natural. We'll have more twists today, and you'll explore more variations from one side to the other. For now, let's come back into a tabletop position. So your standard tabletop with the hips over the knees and the shoulders directly over the wrists. From tabletop, we're just going to come into our cat and cows. So starting with a very simple inhale, coming into cow, gazing up slightly, allowing the belly to drop. And then exhale, push into the mat with your hands, round through the shoulders, spread them wide across the back as you drop the head and lower the gaze. Inhale, come up through cow. Exhale to cat. Let's take 3 more rounds here. Please use the pace of your own breath. You don't need to follow or match my pace whatsoever. You can explore your breath and also pause in any areas that feel like you need to hold and encourage the stretch or the depth. When you're ready, return back to neutral, and we're going to take another variation into our cat and cow, just move into more of a free form movement with some barrel rolls. So for your barrel rolls, we're going to start with an exhale. We're going to round the spine up as we arch into a cat-like position. And from here, we're going to draw great big circles like we're inside a barrel with our torso. As we lower down, the belly drops. We come through an inhale. And as we rise up to the top, tracing around the left side of our barrel, coming to the top, we push and round into the back. Go ahead and take these, again at your own pace, using your breath, following your movement and what you feel into your spine and body today. I've been changing up my workouts lately, and I've been really tight and sore into my back, but that must mean that I'm working some areas that need some attention. When you're ready, we're going to reverse the circle of our barrel rolls, exploring your space on your mat, moving a little bit more with freedom into our cat and cow. You'll find that you'll explore deeply into some areas that probably go unrecognized if you just stay in the one movement along the spine. When you're ready, we'll return to the top and then come back to neutral in our tabletop position. From tabletop, we'll lower down onto our forearms for one more variation on our cat and cow. So now we're down onto our forearms, our fingers are spread out, and then from here, inhale, drop the belly. Another variation on our cow pose. Exhale, round, gazing towards the back of the room, dropping the head. Inhale to cow. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale, round. One more. Returning to neutral. From here, we're going to tuck the back toes. And as we transition to come to seated on our heels, we'll come into a toe stand. Now, I don't have a block with me today, but if you do have a block and would like to stay forward, you can have your fingertips resting on the block or hands on the block, or you can also have your hands down onto the mat. That will take some of the pressure onto those toes or off of those toes. This is really intense, and so we'll hold here for about 30 seconds, just as long as we can manage. Now remember, like a yin practice, we want to stay at our edge. We don't want to feel anything sharp or painful. So if you are going a little too far and feel that sharpness, please back down a little bit. Take your pose to a lower level. And then if you do feel ready, once your body finds more ease in the posture, then you can take it a little bit deeper. Sometimes it's best to have those props there with us, providing our support, so that when the body is ready, you can slowly start to take the props away. But sometimes going too far, too fast can cause injury. Now, with yin and also with other forms of exercise, it's all about having positive stress to the joints, to the muscles, the fascia. So applying stress makes our body stronger. If you apply too much stress, though, of course, that's where we can have damage. So we have to work into appropriate amount of levels. That's where our props come in. So having some blocks handy today, this would definitely be a posture that you may want them. And then maybe a little bit later, you may want a prop as well. And don't worry, I will go ahead and cue those when they're needed, and you can always pause the video. Let's go ahead and ease off of our toes. I hope my talking was distracting enough for you to stay in it. You can go ahead and come forward. Maybe give the feet a little wrap against the mat. Just go ahead and bring the flow back into the feet and to the ankles. And when you're ready, from our tabletop, we're going to go ahead and take some more spinal mobility movements. So we'll keep the right hand planted and then keep the hips over the knees. From here, we're going to open up, inhale, the left fingertips up towards the sky, fingertips together, rotating the chest towards the left side of the room. A little bit more different here versus having the hand behind the head. Exhale. Let's thread the left hand underneath the right armpit. We're not lowering all the way to the floor. We're just creating a twist here, reaching towards the right side of the room. Inhale, open up with the left arm. Exhale, twisting underneath that right armpit. Inhale it up. And exhale, reaching through. From here, we're going to lower down, so keep the left arm underneath the right armpit and lower the left side of the face down onto the mat. From here, the right hand can stay to the side of the face, or you can also extend it out above you on your mat. Whatever feels good for you. Also, we're looking for that intention of the stretch along the back side of the left shoulder. So for me, I do like to have the right hand to the side of my face to give a little push into the mat and feel more of a stretch into the back of that left shoulder. just a gentle push. Of course, you don't need to have the push into the mat at all. You could rest into this pose. The most important thing is that we just keep breathing and moving the breath, and so we don't find ourselves tightening in other areas as we encourage the body to melt down into the pose. To come out of it, we're going to press into the mat now to lift up, pressing the right hand down into the mat. Let's inhale the left arm once more to the sky. And then exhale, lower it down, returning to tabletop. Coming into a supported side plank, we'll move the right shin off to an angle. So it will be more of an easier balance for us. So the right foot is slightly off the right edge of the mat. The right shoulder is still stacked on top of the right wrist. Extend the left leg out long. Sole of the foot comes to the mat. Press down into the mat so you feel the whole left leg light up. Inhale the left arm up to the sky. Fingertips up. Gaze comes up. Pressing down into the left foot. Focusing on that outer left edge, connecting with your mat. On the next inhale, if it's available to you, you can go ahead and reach the left fingertips overhead, reach towards the front edge of the room, creating this great rainbow from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. Inhale. And then exhale, come back into our tabletop. We'll take that sequence over onto the right side body. So when you're ready, keep the left hand planted. Inhale the right arm up towards the sky, opening the chest wide across the collarbone. Exhale, bring the right hand underneath the left armpit. So we're going for a twist here in the upper body. Inhale up with the right arm. Exhale, draw it through the left side. Inhale up with the right arm. Draw it underneath that left shoulder. And then from here, we're going to lower down onto the right side of the face for our thread the needle pose on the right side. Again, the left hand, it's optional where you like to keep it. I like to have it besides the face and kind of drive into the mat a little further for a deeper stretch into my right shoulder. You can also have the hand above you, or take it behind the back. That is one other option that I didn't get to on the other side, but you could use that as well. Wherever you're at, go ahead and pause. Enjoy the stillness. Of course, our thoughts do always wander, no matter where we're at. Once you find your thoughts getting away from you, come back to the breath, the inhale and the exhale. Ride that wave. When you're ready, let's press into the mat with the left hand, allowing ourselves to rise up. Inhale the right arm up towards the sky. One more twist. And then exhale, draw it back down. Coming into our supported side plank now on the opposite side, let's kick that left shin out so we're using it as a supported stand. And then keep the left hand underneath the left shoulder. Extend the right leg out nice and long. The sole of the foot comes to the mat and we'll open up. Facing the right side of the room, reach the right fingertips up towards the sky. Again, let's activate into that right leg by pressing into the outer edge of the right foot. Really feel the entire right side light up. And then maybe reach the right fingertips towards the front of the room. Stretching along the right side ribs. feeling a stretch from your right pinky all the way to your right pinky toe. From here, when you're ready, we're going to sit our glutes down onto the mat. So you're now seated with the right leg extended and the left leg bent. I'm going to spin myself around because I don't want to talk to the back room. Coming into our half butterfly on the right side. So the right leg is extended. We're in an open hip position and the left foot is slightly separated from the right inner thigh. From here, we're going to side body bend over towards the right side. Sometimes having a block right here can be nice to have your forearm elevated. Coming all the way down to the mat can be a lot just right away. I like to keep my left hand firmly fixed to the inside of my left inner thigh to keep that knee down and to get a greater stretch to the inside of this left hip. When you're ready, go ahead and side body lean over towards the right. You don't need to come down very far to really feel this stretch. Feeling a gentle stretch into the side of the left ribs. Also working into the back of the hamstrings and our hips. A full body stretch. And if it's too much under your neck to gaze up towards the ceiling, this is just a gentle reminder that you can always look down towards the mat or just keep the neck neutral. Slowly lift the torso up. We're going to switch sides. So we'll draw the right foot in, extend the left leg out long, coming out at a diagonal. Again, remain with the open hips here. We want to have some space so we can lean over towards the side, keeping this an open half butterfly. Lower the left arm down, either to a block or maybe all the way to the mat. And you can push into the inner thigh of the right leg to keep the connection, to keep the length into the torso. Trying to stay relaxed in the upper body. And breathe into the stretch. You remember, as you hold in these postures, using our props to support us is wonderful. If you feel yourself growing more closely towards the earth, if you're trying to find more ease, your body naturally is finding it, you can go ahead and remove those props and go ahead and come a little bit lower once your body is ready. Gently start to ease back to an upright position. And you can bring the legs around so that we're facing the front, legs extended out long. We'll prepare for a caterpillar pose. So your caterpillar pose, you can have a bolster underneath the knees if you would like a slight bend in the knees. When you're ready, we'll start by sitting, let's say that right. Start by seated up nice and tall, and then we're going to hinge forward from the hips. Allowing yourselves to round when you feel like you can't hinge forward anymore, and the head, neck, and shoulders just round as we relax into our caterpillar pose, coming into a nice forward bend, stretching more into the lower back. Avoid pulling yourself deeper into the position. Use the breath to allow yourself to naturally lower bit by bit. You may even notice on the inhales, your torso rises ever so slightly. And on the exhale, you ride the wave as you lower down, maybe a little further. We don't need to push or pull in these long holds. And when you're ready, use your hands to push into the mat and bring yourself to an upright position. We'll come into a supported bridge. So here we will need a block to allow our tailbone to rest on. I need to go grab one. One moment. There, that was magic. I have my block. From here, we're going to lower down onto our backs and come into supported bridge. Possibly one of my favorite postures. I love a good supported back bend. Lift the hips up and bring that block just underneath the tailbone. Feeling supported there, and allow the soles of the feet to come onto the mat. Your choice, you can have the hands out and extended into a low V. Sometimes it's nice to bring the hands just to the belly and allow yourself to reconnect with your body and with your breath. And place some awareness on where the breath is traveling. Feeling the gentle rise and fall of the belly. If you would like to go a step further, you can extend the arms overhead. And if it feels okay for your low back, you can extend the legs out long. So getting a greater depth into this back bend. Allow the feet to go wide. The feet do not need to be together. If you have the feet wide, it creates a little more space for your low back to relax. Of course, if this is too much on the lower back, because your legs are long and heavy levers, you can come back to having the sole of the feet on the mat. You can start to draw the hands down by the side and then draw the legs in one at a time so that the feet come flat to the mat once more. Lift the hips up and remove the block. You can just gently place it off to the side for now. From here, we'll take the hands, or actually make it the legs, up to the ceiling, and we'll come into a unsupported legs up the wall pose. So from here, point the feet and then flex. We're just going to work into the ankles, activate into the calf muscles and the legs. Point and flex about 5 times here. And then yogi's choice. You can stay in this unsupported legs up the wall version, or if you like, you can start to come into a plow pose. So you go ahead and push into the mat, lift the hips, and draw the legs behind you. Placing the hands at the lower back. You can keep the legs out nice and straight. If it feels good, you can also bend the knees. Sometimes having a bolster at the back of your mat for your feet to find a place to land can be very helpful because then your feet don't need to go as far down towards the earth. Breathing here in your plow pose. If you're in your legs up the wall posture, keep breathing as well. It does require some strength and activity in the legs to hold them straight up. And whether you're in your plow pose or in your legs up the wall pose, we're going to slowly lower. Allow the soles of the feet to come back onto the mat. Finding our happy baby pose. It's a lovely pose to have towards the end of the class. Kind of wake up into the hips. When you're ready, we'll go ahead and grab one foot and then the other. You can have your hands onto straps wrapped around the feet, or you can even have the hands to the back of your thighs, drawing the knees in towards the armpits. If your hands are grasping towards the outer edge of the feet, have the hands on the outside edge and then the elbows on the inside of the knees as you draw the knees down towards the earth. Use the weight of the arms to keep the knees pinned down. Allow the low back to come into contact with the mat. Sometimes this can be quite challenging because in this position, depending on the opening of your hips, your low back will want to round and be lifted up, possibly like this, so the tailbone is lifted. Trust me, with time, eventually you'll find that connection so the low back connects. It does take time. Keep breathing. And then finally, and one last posture here from our happy baby, we're going to just draw the soles of the feet together so the knees stay out wide. Possibly interlace the hands to the outside of the feet, or you can have your strap here as well. And then draw the heels of the feet in towards the inner groin. And the knees are still driving up and towards the mat. Allow your arms to feel heavy, stretching more into the inner groin now. Again, trying to feel that connection with the low back towards the mat. You may not be all the way there, but we're looking for that practice of that sensation, that downward movement, pulling the heels down, drawing the lower back down towards the earth. When you're ready, go ahead and release the feet. You can allow them to come back to the earth. Extend the legs out long, spending the last 1 or 2 minutes here in Shavasana to seal our practice for the day. The arms can spread out wide. Take up space onto your mat and relax the legs as they fall open. Ending here with our last observations of our breath and of our practice. How we are feeling after that practice. Are we noticing heat within the joints? Perhaps even vibrations through the body of the energy that we've moved throughout the spine, down the length of the body, into the hips, even into the toes today. Resting in your Shavasana for as long as you like. You can hit pause. If you are ready, you can go ahead and start to slowly move onto your side and press yourself up, coming into a seated position. As we all join each other on the mat in this seated position, inhale the arms up to the sky. And exhale the hands down through heart center as you close your practice in gratitude for yourself and for your body. As always, I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you did, please hit that like button. Come back here for more new classes every single Sunday. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. I hope you have a great day. Make it a good one. Bye.